Hello, welcome to Wikifiends. I'm your host, Joe.
I'm David.
And we're the Wikifiends. We're going to read some Wikipedia articles and give you our opinions. So the first one I have is a little two-part one. Dead ball era. It's a baseball term. Dead ball era was the period between around 1900, though some date it to the beginning of baseball, and the emergence of Babe Ruth as a power hitter in 1919. That year, Ruth hit a then-league record of 29 home runs, a spectacular feat at that time. The era was characterized by low-scoring games and a lack of home runs. I'll keep this brief because I really want to get on to the second half of this. During that era, baseball was much more of a strategy-driven game, using a style of play known as small ball or inside baseball, and relied much more on stolen bases and hit-and-run types of plays than on home runs. Now, I want to get down to sort of factors that contributed to the dead ball era. The foul strike rule. I don't know how much you know about baseball, but when you're at bat, it's 3 strikes and you're out, 4 balls and you walk. Take a base, and foul balls count as strikes. Unless it's the last strike, in which you can keep fouling until you either get a strike, a hit, or you're walked.
Right.
But during this time, foul balls did not count as strikes. So play would keep going. Let's see here. Thus, a batter could foul off a countless number of pitches with no strikes counted against him, except for bunt attempts. This gave the batter an enormous advantage. All right. The next one is the ball itself. Before 1921, it was common for a baseball to be in play for over 100 pitches. Players used the same ball until it started to unravel. Early baseball leagues were very cost-conscious, so fans had to throw back balls that had been hit into the stands.
It's cheap as fuck.
Yeah, the longer the ball was in play, the softer it became. And hitting a heavily used, softer ball for distance is much more difficult than hitting a new, harder one. The ball itself was softer to begin with, probably making home runs less likely. And now here's what I really found interesting. Well, I'll skip to ballpark. I'll skip the one I find interesting down to ballpark dimensions. That's the last of the factors. Many ballparks were large by modern standards. All right, that's just it. It's larger, so it's harder to hit the ball out in the stands for a home run. But here's the one I find interesting: the spitball. The spitball was hard to hit because pitchers could. This ball was hard to hit because pitchers could manipulate it before a pitch. For example, the spitball pitch was permitted in baseball until 1921. Pitchers often marked the ball, scuffed it, spat on it, anything they could to influence the ball's motion. This made the ball dance and curve much more than it does now, making it more difficult to hit. Tobacco juice was often added to the ball as well, which discolored it. This made the ball difficult to see, especially since baseball parks did not have lights until the 1930s. This made both hitting and fielding more difficult. Now let's get on to the spitball, the page about spitball, which I find interesting.
What was the original page called again?
The page was called Dead Ball Era.
Okay.
And that was the era in which very little home runs were scored. So spitball currently is an illegal baseball pitch in which the ball has been altered by the application of saliva, petroleum jelly, or some other foreign substance. The technique alters the wind resistance and weight on one side of the ball, causing it to move in an atypical manner. It may also cause the ball to slip out of the pitcher's finger without the usual spin that accompanies a pitch. In this sense, a spitball can be thought of as a fastball with knuckleball action. It gives some alternate names: spitter, mudball, shine ball, super sinker, Vaseline ball, because Vaseline was originally used, emery ball, although technically an emery ball is one where the ball has been abraded in much the same way that the original cut ball had been physically cut. So I guess they're scratching it with an emery board. Ed Walsh was a player who popularized it. Walsh dominated the American League from 1906 to 1912, primarily on the strength of his Spitball. The dramatic increase in the popularity of freak deliveries led to a great deal of controversy throughout the 1910s regarding the abolition of the Spitball and related pitches. In his autobiography, Ty Cobb wrote that such freak pitches were outlawed when the owners greedily sold out to home runs.
Interesting.
I don't know how much you know about Ty Cobb, but he has the reputation for being a mean, nasty, asshole.
I didn't know that about him.
They made a movie with Tommy Lee Jones, I think, that played Ty Cobb. And I think it was just called Ty Cobb or something like that. In addition, there were serious issues with the Spitball, as a variation on the standard Spitball called for the pitcher to smear the entire surface of the normally white ball with a mixture of tobacco spittle and dirt or mud in order to stain it the same deep brown color as the infield, making it nearly impossible for batters to see or avoid in low-light conditions. In August 1920, Ray Chapman was killed when he was struck in the temple by a spitball thrown by pitcher Carl Mays during a poorly lit game.
Jeez.
The spitball was banned in 2 stages. In the winter of 1910 and 1920, managers voted to partially ban the spitball, allowing each team to designate at most 2 pitchers who would be permitted to legally throw spitballs. Then following the 1920 season, the spitball was banned league-wide, except for existing spitballers who were grandfathered in and allowed to keep throwing the pitch legally until they retired. I find that pretty interesting.
Wait, so they're giving amnesty, you don't keep doing it, but we know you did it, but you can stay in.
So new pitchers can't do it, but the old guys could keep doing it.
Oh, they could, not only could they didn't have to leave, they could still keep doing it.
They could still keep pitching spit. So that gives them a huge advantage.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. They're playing different rules.
It says here 7. That's if it'd be in boxing, if they grandfathered in somebody who's they grandfathered in people who well, he can hit you in the nuts, but
yeah, no, that's such bullshit, because it's if you're an old, you can cheat, which is so funny. It's you would only just want to get a team of all old guys, because they can fucking just all cheat. You know?
That would be a good sports league, is old versus young, and the old people are allowed dirty tactics.
It's because old people are dirty like that. It's so funny.
It says here 17 existing spitballers were granted this exemption. Burley Grimes lasted the longest, retiring in 1934. So I guess he played for 14 years against other teams that couldn't cheat like he was cheating.
You know who knows a lot? John knows a lot about this topic. We've talked actually about spitballs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he used to love this guy, Gaylord Perry. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Gaylord Perry was an old pitcher who that was his whole thing, was doing fucking cheap trickery with his pitching.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the deal? I just pulled the article up because I knew this was going to come up. Perry reportedly approached the makers of Vaseline about endorsing the product and was allegedly rebuffed with a one-line postcard reading, "We soothe babies' backsides, not baseballs." And former manager Gene Mauch famously quipped, "He should be in the Hall of Fame with a tube of KY jelly attached to his plaque."
Oh God!
So this guy, he built his whole career on doing fucking shit tricks. It's so funny.
I kind of like it though. It's sort of like, you remember, like, you know, like I should state for the audience that I'm really not a big sports fan.
Neither am I.
Yeah, but like I did enjoy a lot of like sports themed comedy movies when I was a kid, and I always liked the ones where it'd be like they would employ wacky wacky rules that were like technically allowed, you know. I guess
Major League.
Yeah, I remember there was one that was like I forget what it was. There were like a string of, or not a string, but there were several movies in the early to mid '90s about children that became baseball players, like Major League Baseball players,
or animals.
Yeah, well, Air Bud was, a basketball dog, and like that's another thing that's interesting. Like I like that. I like that thing where it's like that like motif where it's like like, oh, a dog can play, Yeah. But I do like these wacky. I do like wacky rules,
Nah, I always like that shit when it's clearly not in the rules to let a child or an animal play, but it's like, oh, he's so good though.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to get into methodology. Although the Spitball is now banned at all levels of professional and organized amateur baseball, it is still sometimes thrown in violation of the rules. In 1942, Leo DeRocher, then manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers, fined Bobo Newsom for throwing a spitball and lying to me about it. Typically, a lubricant is hidden behind the pitcher's knee or under the peak of his cap. Others will place the ball in their mitt and then cough on or lick it.
Gross.
Another tactic pitchers use is to soak their hair in water before going out to the mound, and then rubbing their hand in their hair before a pitch. Some pitchers have even glued a piece of sandpaper to one of their fingers and scuffed a part of the ball to achieve a similar effect to the spitball. Ted Double Duty Radcliffe has stated that he would hide a piece of emery board in his belt buckle so that he could roughen the ball or even cut it. During the Minnesota Twins' 1987 pennant chase, one of their starting pitchers, Joe Niekro, was suspended when he was caught on the field with a nail file in his back pocket.
God, these guys are all fucking crooks.
Niekro said in his defense that he had been filing his nails, a common practice amongst knuckleball pitchers. 1 week later, Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Kevin Gross was caught with sandpaper in his glove and suspended. In the '86 season, Houston Astros pitcher Mike Scott was frequently accused of cheating. During the '86 NLCS, New York Mets player Wally Backman presented to the media a collection of 17 balls scruffed the same way after Scott's dominating performance in Game 4 of that series. So it looks like a player from an opposing team gathered a bunch of balls that were marred in the same way that pitcher Mike Scott had thrown.
They found a pathology or something.
Yeah. One of the most famous spitballers was Preacher Rowe, played for the Brooklyn Dodgers in the 50s. Rowe was renowned both for his ability to control the spitball and to throw it without getting caught, and described his methodology in a 1955 article in Sports Illustrated. The outlaw spitball was my money pitch. Oh, and here they do bring up Gaylord Perry. And he titled his autobiography "Me and the Spitter."
Yeah. Did they talk about the puffball?
Well, they all they say is Perry would put Vaseline on his zipper because umpires would never check there.
Listen to this shit. The spitball was not his only method for upsetting batters. My favorite trick pitch of his was the old puffball, where he would load up on rosin so that a puff of white smoke would release when he threw his pitches. This was made illegal somewhere along the way because of Perry, but it's so awesome. It's like the sort of thing one of the villains would do on the old Batman TV show.
Oh God,
that's so ridiculous. Like,
I do like things that are like not technically cheating, you know?
Well, that's interesting because it's like I love this idea of like baseball at this one point was just not about skill. Like, it was kind of, there's a little bit of like showbiz, smoke and mirrors involved.
Well, it's kind of it's a lot like game breaking, you know, like you're pushing the bounds of the game, and like that's like an interesting thing to watch in itself. Like, remember that kid Max that we did that game demo with?
Yeah,
who was like really like adept at finding like exploits.
Right.
It seems like, shout out to Max from Florida. And it just seems like a really like a Wild West time of like baseball. It was just like you know, really, really good for finding these like interesting, you know, tactics.
Well, it's weird because they must not have been so tight on like inspection and stuff. So it's kind of like jail or something. Like, they're all bringing, you know, they're all trying all these little fucking tricks. Like, it's so like, it doesn't make it about like how good you are. It's like, well, fuck, if I can taint the ball, you're gonna miss.
Well,
it.
it's like not just how good you are at baseball, but also how good you are at being, you know, exploiting baseball. Right. Which is kind of more impressive to me.
No, yeah, I think it is. Like, it's much more interesting.
I mean, not to say that baseball is a complete physical game. I'm sure there's a lot of mental aspects to it. But, you know, like, it definitely seems more of the thinking man's game at this point, you know?
Well, I mean, it's even more so in the past, apparently.
No, that's what I'm saying. In the past was more of the thinking man's.
Yeah, it has that reputation.
Period for... Well, I think the reputation is not of the thinking man, but of the abject cheater.
Right. Well, same argument could be made.
All right, so and then the article then sort of talks about legal spits, which are, I guess, balls that are thrown in a spitball manner, and then also... there's the remote term God-given spitter, in which the ball is naturally dampened by moist air or light rainfall. In today's game, pitchers are allowed to moisten their fingers with saliva so long as they wipe their fingers on their uniform before again touching the baseball. And then, I guess, as an interesting side note, it's also done in cricket, but it's still legal in cricket.
Oh, to do a bunch of this shit?
Yeah. So you could sweat on it, and you could put saliva on it, even if the saliva is tainted with mints that a player is sucking on.
Ew.
It says these tactics are entirely legal and are used widely.
Ah, it's fucking disgusting.
It's illegal to tamper using artificial substances or to degrade the ball with fingernails or other substances.
So you can't do the Vaseline KY jelly shit, I guess.
You can't put outside sources on it. You can only put saliva or sweat on it. And you can't, like, dig into the ball with your fingernails. So, that's the spitball.
Baseball sure changed since when I was a boy. It used to be a lot more fun and cheating.
I mean, I guess this is also, like, getting back to the dead ball era. Not to stay too long on baseball, but I guess it really does make Babe Ruth's sort of legacy much more impressive when he's hitting, you know, he's getting these home runs during a time where the game was a lot harder.
Right, that, he wasn't using cork or any of that shit. Like, his was the first that was not, it was pure athleticism.
Yeah. Pure athleticism, and he overcame, quote-unquote cheaters.
Yeah, right. He was...
It wasn't cheating at that point, but overcoming, sort of underhanded or,
Right.
Creative pitches.
It's a shame. It's really, really interesting.
Would you be more of a sports fan if they had things like this?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
They should. They should get more stuff like this. They should get a separate league.
I think just like life in general should be more like this.
No. I don't know if I'd go that far. Alright, so what do you have?
Okay. So this is this one is really interesting. It's called Fantasy Interactive Scenarios by Telephone, or F.I.S.T. These were a series of single-player, telephone-based role-playing games launched by the UK games designer Steve Jackson in 1988 through the company Computer Dial, who until then had used their service mainly to provide astrology services. The product was a radio drama version of Jackson's popular fighting fantasy novels, and the outcome of the story could be affected by the choices the user made using a touchtone telephone. A free starter pack could be ordered by sending a self-addressed stamped envelope to the game creators. 2 scenarios were produced for the F.I.S.T. game. The first of these was released under the title F.I.S.T. 1, Castle Mammon, Lair of the Demon Prince in September 1988, and the second was a direct sequel titled F.I.S.T. 2, The Rings of Avalon in March 1989. Players could register over the phone, create a character which could be saved and restored the next time the player called. Both games were dungeon crawls, depicting the player's unnamed character progressing through the titular Castle Mammon in an attempt to slay the demon prince, Caddis Ra. The game featured several sound effects, voiceovers illustrating the adventures of the character. Combat consisted of the player being read a description of what their opponent was doing and pushing a key combination to take action or cast a spell in response. The game could be save and quit at any time by pressing 9, and the last message could be repeated by pressing 0. Although a solo game, players could hear the high scores of other players, and physical gold coins were awarded monthly to the highest scoring players.
Physical gold coins? Dave?
Yeah, it doesn't say that they're made out of gold, but it does say physical gold coins.
So like gold colored coins, possibly.
Yeah, it's just, maybe it was real gold coins. I have no idea.
That'd be cool.
I just thought it was a really funny idea. Like, imagine, like, you're on the phone and it's like this warrior talking to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like a barbarian. Like, things have gotten really bad here at Castle Mammon. And, like, like hearing that shit on the phone sounds really funny to me.
Well, I know, like, for a long time, I guess this isn't a video game, but I guess electronic gaming had a reputation for bad voice acting. But it seems like you would have to have
quite a bit. This whole game is that, yeah.
It seems like you would need to hire, like, actual actors,
I'd be very curious to know what the voice quality was on this. Like, I imagine, it's like 88, it had to be pretty funny. Like, it probably was like actors, like professional voice actors, but who knows? Could
you imagine, like, assuming it was professional actors, like other, like, an actor gets the job and he's like, he doesn't want to tell his actor friends about it,
Well, it's like radio. It's like kind of like just a radio drama thing. So, there's probably a lot of people that are like, there's probably more like radio narrator type people. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's a good. But I mean, it's like a barbarians and sword and sandal stuff, right? So it's not like you couldn't just get a guy that like reads like monster truck ads. You know, it'd have to be like a guy who does who
could do like a barbarian's
Holt. You know.
Well, right, more in the radio drama field than like DJs. You couldn't have like a Casey Kasem talking about like broadswords and shit. Maybe as the narrator. I mean, it seems like a lot of fun to work on like this project. Like it just seems so silly. Like,
seems like a good something that it seems like something that could be revived now. I mean, not over a phone, but
yeah, in various ways.
Certainly in an app or something.
Yeah. It's like that's the thing that's weird about it, because it is kind of like real, like low tech in a way. Like, but it's still utilizing a thing that everybody had. But it's like the telephones. I mean, turned to game systems still much later. So it's kind of ahead of its time in a lot of ways.
Well, I mean, they had Nintendo at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, this way of... I mean, it's based off fighting fantasy, so it is essentially based off choose your own adventure format, so...
They had computers that had some,
Right.
Some ability, ability to connect to a network.
Would you play, like, Skyrim on the phone? That'd be kind of funny.
Well... I don't know. I wouldn't want to spend money on it.
Yeah. I mean, well, maybe like a one-time payment.
One-time payment, maybe. I mean, I guess the closest I ever got, we ever got would be playing games online with a dial-up modem.
If they redo it, they should make it so it's like a live person. You're like, I want you to do this, like Son of Tar. It's like, no. You get like arguments, with like a wizard on the phone. Like, he's not doing what I paid him to.
It seems like a good career opportunity for you. You should look into setting up a system,
a Patreon for this. So I thought that was very nice. Like,
what was the name of it again?
F.I.S.T. Fantasy Interactive Scenarios by Telephone.
It's a pretty bad name.
I don't know. It's funny because it's like that's the system. Like, it's like you're buying into the system. Where
it doesn't have a game name?
I mean, the game names were like that Castle of Mammon.
Oh yeah.
They do have, but it's all under the F.I.S.T. Play by Telephone system.
I see.
Ready for your next one?
Yeah, sure. Alright. The next one I have is... let's see what we got here. It's another two-parter. It's Peace Village in Daeseong-dong. Are you familiar with either of these?
I think Peace Village sounds really familiar.
All right, I'll start with Peace Village, because that's where the bulk of the interest lies, to me at least. It's Gyeongdong is the name of it, or Peace Village, is a village in Pyeonghwa-ri. It's a village in Pyeonghwa-ri, Kaesong-si, North Korea. It is situated in the north half of the Korean DMZ. Also known in Korea as Peace Village, it has been widely referred to as Propaganda Village by those outside North Korea, especially in Western and South Korean media. Kindong, or Peace Village, is one of two villages permitted to remain in the 4-kilometer-wide DMZ set up under the 1953 armistice ending the Korean War. The other is the South Korean village of Daeseong-dong. So history. The official position of the North Korean government is that the village contains a 200-family collective farm serviced by a child care center, kindergarten, primary and secondary schools, and a hospital. However, observation from the south suggests that the town is an uninhabited village built in the 1950s in a propaganda effort to encourage South Korean defection and to house the DPRK soldiers manning the network of artillery positions, fortifications, and underground marshalling bunkers that surround the border zone. The village features a number of brightly painted, poured concrete multi-story buildings and apartments, many apparently wired for electricity. The town was oriented so that the bright blue roofs and white sides of the building next to the massive DPRK flag would be the most distinguishing features when viewed from across the border. Scrutiny with modern telescope lenses, however, has led to the conclusion that the buildings are concrete shells lacking window glass or even interior rooms, with building lights turned on and off at set times and empty sidewalks swept by caretakers in an effort to preserve the illusion of activity. The village is surrounded by extensive cultivated fields, clearly visible to visitors to the North Korean side of the DMZ. So I guess the next part of this is flagpole. In the 1980s, the South Korean government built a 323-foot tall flagpole with a 287-pound flag of South Korea in Daeseong-dong on their side of the border. The North Korean government responded by building an even taller one, the Panmunjom flagpole, 520 feet tall, with a 595-pound flag of North Korea.
I've heard of this dick measuring contest. Yeah, it's a famous thing.
Some have called it the flagpole war.
It's an easy war to win. You don't need too much.
Well, I mean, eventually someone will be the loser because someone will not be able to produce a bigger flagpole.
It's going to take them a while.
For over a decade, the flagpole was the tallest in the world. In 2010, the flagpole became the second tallest in the world at the time after the national flag square in Baku, Azerbaijan. It's now the fourth tallest flagpole in the world. The next one is propaganda loudspeakers. This is another like petty thing, but I guess it's good because they're avoiding all-out war. You know.
Yeah.
The next one, propaganda loudspeakers. Massive loudspeakers mounted on several of the buildings deliver DPRK propaganda broadcasts directly towards the south. Originally, the content extolled the North's virtues in great detail and urged disgruntled soldiers and farmers to simply walk across the border to be received as brothers. Eventually, as its value in inducing defections proved minimal, the content was switched to condemnatory anti-Western speeches, agitprop operas, and patriotic marching music for up to 20 hours a day. From a period from 2004 to 2016, both North and South agreed to mutually end their loudspeaker broadcasts at each other. The broadcasts have since resumed after escalating tensions as a result of the 2016 nuclear test. Now, it's interesting. I had saved this article like a few weeks ago, and they just updated this thing that it's going on again.
What, that they're playing the same shit again?
That they're doing the broadcasts. So that's kind of like I guess like a funny, like real-time update.
I wonder if you can, like, there's live streams of them. It'd be funny to listen to that.
I don't know. Well, let me get on to Daeseong-dong, also called Daeseong-dong, the town in the South Korean part of the DMZ. The village is 1 mile south of the Bridge of No Return and 7.5 miles from the city of Kaesong, North Korea. Daeseong belongs administratively to... Alright, I'm not going to read all this. Daeseong-dong is only 1 mile from Kijong-dong, or Peace Village. It talks about the flagpole war. But it says here, while the southern half of the DMZ is under the administration of the United Nations Command, the residents of Daeseong-dong are considered South Korean civilians and subject to South Korean laws. These residents have some unique benefits and restrictions. For example, they have the same rights to vote and receive education, but are exempt from national defense duties and taxation. Which
say what? Which side is this?
This is the South Korean side.
This is the South. Okay.
If you live in Daeseong-dong, South Korea, which is in the South Korean DMZ, you're exempt from national defense duties and taxation.
That's so bizarre.
Pretty crazy. Residents are also allocated large plots of land and have some of the highest farming income in the nation. However, they are subject to limitations. The safety of the villagers is paramount, since North Korea soldiers can and have crossed the border. Visitors invited to the village must apply for a military escort 2 weeks in advance. There is an 11 p.m. curfew and head count. So I guess it's like you got to be indoors by 11, and and they count you.
Yeah, this is on the south side too.
This is the south side.
Yeah, wow.
Because it's apparently it's right next to the northern village, and North Korean military will come in.
And
they have come in the past. They can and they have.
They make shenanigans. So you got to do a head count of the whole town.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But I mean, it seems like if you're willing to put up with having to be inside by 11, I mean, no taxes. That's a pretty big. No taxes, and you don't have to join the military. I mean, that's a pretty big.
Is it compulsory otherwise?
Yeah.
Oh yeah! Wow.
You never had any classmates at school that were from Korea but had to go back in their sophomore or junior year because they had to do their compulsory service.
I know the Israelis do that. I know that's a big thing, but I never heard about South Koreans though.
Oh, definitely. I remember there were at least two I knew of that I knew in freshman year and then had to go back.
Oh, wow.
But, and I'm assuming they came back after their
how many years is it compulsory?
It doesn't say. I mean, I could... I'm sure it's not too long of a term. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say. I'm not going to look it up right now.
Do you ever wish that, you had been drafted in for a year? If that
was...
No, it was like that?
No. Alright, it says here, 21 months for Army and Marine Corps, 23 months for Navy, 24 months for Air Force.
Tops 2 years?
Tops 2 years, but non-active duty service, e.g. civil service or public service worker, is from 24 to 36 months.
Oh, so that's longer. I see.
Yeah, so that's 2 to 3 years.
I see.
I mean, I figured it would be at most 3 years. All right, well, that's all I have on those two towns.
So one's the fake kind of ideal village, and the other is just this town that's in the demilitarized zone that kind of has these weird laws around it. It's very interesting.
It seems like it's much better to live in the South Korean one.
Yeah.
It's without a doubt.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Like a billion times better.
I mean, this might be controversial, but I don't think either of us want to live in North Korea.
Would you live in South Korea?
Oh, yeah, it seems fine there.
I probably would not, because I don't like going anywhere.
Well, I mean, who knows?
Yeah. I probably will not, I should say. But,
It's very interesting, though. I like the whole flagpole thing. That's such a weird way of measuring, a country's resources or worth.
It doesn't even really measure. It's just it's a weird show that doesn't really measure anything. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But I wouldn't. I mean, I think it's kind of petty. I mean, you could definitely see why the North Koreans would do it, but it seems kind of petty of the South Koreans to engage that to build a taller one. You know,
well,
like, wouldn't it be better to just let them have their stupid flag?
Wouldn't it be? Well, that's a good be the bigger man about it. That's true.
And also,
better than a war, though. Better than a war.
Definitely better than a war. But it's like you can see like the North Korean to the point of the North Koreans, they're trying to impress the South Koreans who are in the village. There's nobody in the North Korean village except for soldiers in like bunkers and shit.
Yeah.
So it's like who's gonna see the South Korean flag, you know? And if there were civilians in North Korea, it's not like they could just walk over the line,
right?
Because the North Korean forces would stop them. Yeah,
it's interesting though. Like this, it's two countries at war, and they've been at war for so long. But it's just how it turns into these just odd displays.
Well, they're not really at war. They're just
they have
hostilities.
Right. It's not even they're neutral. It's that they're hostile. You know.
Yeah.
I always wonder because, is China on the other side of North Korea? I always wonder about their other borders.
Yeah, China borders it.
Yes. I'd be curious to learn more.
I mean, for China's sort of like for a long time at least. China and the Soviet Union were like,
yeah, everyone's in bed together.
Biggest supporters, and I think the North Korean economy really took a hit when the Soviet Union went belly up.
Right.
But I think it was waning before that, just because there was some, I guess, market reforms in the Soviet Union that the North Koreans felt was, an affront to sort of, socialism,
like communism and shit, right?
Yeah. Well, they were reforms that were, that were anti-communist. That I guess,
not hardline communist, right?
Yeah. So that's the Peace Village in Daeseong-dong Village.
Deep topic.
Yeah. So what do you have next?
All right. Here's a quick one. The Jungfrauen were also called Carl Jung's Valkyries or the Maidnaids. Were a supportive group of women analysts mainly based in Zurich who were among Jung's first interpreters. They were early popularizers of his ideas. Central to the Jungfrauen was Toni Wolff, Jolene Jacobi, Marie-Louise von Franz, Barbara Hanna, Esther Harding, and Anella Jaffe. Other, more peripheral figures were Christine Mann and Heidela Kirsch. The German word Jungfrauen means virgins. In the present context, it is a pun. The adjective Jung means young, and the plural noun Frauen means women.
Mm-hmm.
So, they were described as also the Vestal Virgins. The public image, Mary Bancroft described the Jungfrauen as Vestal Virgins hovering around Jung, their sacred flame. N.L. Jaffe said at Uranus that they would throw off the stigma of the name Jungfrau and would hover around Jung like bees around a honeypot. So it's very making him sound like very much like a rock star.
So it's his they're his groupies.
Yeah, and which is did Freud have groupies? It's a funny thing to think about. Imagine Dr. Phil would. He's a public, intellectual.
Well, he doesn't travel with a band of, or not that Jung traveled with it, but right. It's not like There's no. I mean, if he does, it's not like a public thing.
Right.
At least not one I'm aware of.
What if there was like Dr. Phil's chicks, or something like that?
That's a good name.
I don't even know yet. Dr. Fillers.
Dr. Phillies.
Yeah. That's right. It's perfect. Right? Oh, it's so funny. Yeah. All right, here's the feminist critique of this. God, this is short. It seemed like there'd be more. Whereas early Jungfrauen adopted Jung's views on gender wholesale, some Jungian women later criticized them. Naomi R. Goldenberg, for example, said that Jungian philosophy is a patriarchal religion within once I lived and worked for years in the Jungian universe.
Oh.
So...
I'm not very knowledgeable about Jung. I mean, the only thing I really know is like archetypes, and very minimal at that. And I guess collective unconscious, but
you know the whole fucking story about him and like the chair or the sound. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
It's like, let me see if I can find it real quick. Well, like the big difference, I think. I don't know. I don't know the deal, but I think Jung got much more like kind of like pseudo spiritual. You know what I mean? Like kind of, he wrote these like the Big Red Book or something. It's almost like takes on like an expressionistic like quality to it, whereas Freud was just hyper analytical. Hold on, what is it?
It's psychiatry or psychology. It's something I'm very I'm not very well versed in.
Oh wait, okay. So it's Freud, Jung, and the noise from the bookcase. This is kind of used as like a paranormal thing. Like that's the thing. Like that's the thing that they got in big fights about. Like I think that kind of caused a break. Like Jung was much more into any kind of supernatural or collective unconscious, like spiritual shit. Where Freud was, I think, much more about the individual.
So like a disagreement between Freud and Jung, not Jung and his virgins.
I don't think so. Wait, all right, here we go. According to Jung, the first real crisis in their friendship came in spring 1909 from the following incident. Jung visited Freud in Vienna and asked his opinion on precognition and parapsychology, but Freud was too materialistic and rejected these matters in a way that upset Jung. A very strange thing happened then. As Freud was leaving, Jung felt his diaphragm was burning, and a very loud crack came from the bookcase next to them. When Jung told Freud this is a perfect example of a paranormal phenomenon, he still denied it. Then Jung predicted that in a moment there would be another loud noise, and he was right. A second loud crack came from the bookcase. Freud remained puzzled, and this incident raised his mistrust towards Jung.
So is it possible? Is it Freud thought that Jung was setting something up?
Yeah, fucking with him. Right, probably.
Yeah. I would say I'm not one to disavow myself of sort of metaphysical possibilities. But I don't know. It seems like that could just be a coincidence,
I feel that way too, but I kind of get, like, I do feel annoyed when people jump to that quickly, though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm perfectly, I see it as being on the table, but like, if you go to it too quick, I know you're playing with me.
To me, it's like a thing that, it should be the last thing you come to,
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's it's something that lies at the periphery that you don't have a full grasp of, but that you just sort of get a sense of, but not something you can point to, immediately, I guess.
Yeah.
No. I don't know, does that make sense?
Yes, I mean, I don't think they should be mixed, though. Like, I believe you should maybe take a metaphysical, spiritual approach to analyzing things, but you don't need to get it fucking conflated with the scientific, though. You know what I mean? Like, you can do them independently.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So what are there any other interesting points to the Jungfrauen or the Jungfrauen?
It was just something I found through cultural history. It's just weird. Just Jung's women, the Jungfrauen.
Does it have pictures of these women?
No.
All right. So I don't it wasn't like a thing where it's like they were like beauties, was it? I know that shouldn't matter, but I mean it could be
if they were like extremely attractive as well as being like early women analysts, like like extra factor on it.
Like it'd be funny if that was like if a young thing was like to surround themselves with beautiful women. I don't know a lot about Jung.
Well, I mean, it's not like he seduced these women.
I'm not saying he did, but
they liked his. It's like he kind of had like it was this heavy female fan club, but like I mean, I imagine like Freud probably had like a group of like old guys who were like, oh boy, Freud's here. They're like his little boys club. You know what I mean? Like just because maybe it's like young stuff went better over with young women, but Freud went better over with older men. Like there's a whole layer to all of this. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. You don't think it was Jung like being like, well, I want my posse to be sexy smart babes.
You think like before he started any research, he's like, well, is this gonna bring sexy smart babes? Like, do sexy smart babes care about this? Because if they don't, I don't. Like,
And that would be bad. We're doing a lot of iconoclastic revisionist history writing.
Well, I mean, was the young Frau for Jung, or was he for them? Did he create them, or vice versa?
Ooh. It's like a what's that word? Not a paradox. I don't know.
An enigma.
Yes, Enigma works fine. Alright, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it's kind of a weird little fact, Who knew?
Right. You want to do one short one each?
Yeah, let's play our games and then
why don't we save the games to the end? It's more fun.
Alright. Let me see. You got a short one?
I got a short one. Nucular. Right? That's the page. Nucular is a commonly used metathetic form of the word nuclear. While it is usually regarded as a mispronunciation, and no dictionaries list this particular pronunciation as correct, several make mention of it because of its increased usage. Merriam-Webster Dictionary receives enough questions about their mention of this mispronunciation in the dictionary that it is one of two mispronunciations which receive particular mention in their FAQ. And it says, though disapproved of by many, pronunciations ending in cular have been found in widespread use among educated speakers, including scientists, lawyers, professors, congressmen, United States cabinet members, and at least 2 U.S. presidents and 1 vice president. While most common in the United States, these pronunciations have also been heard from in British and Canadian speakers. And it said, now American Heritage Dictionary says, the pronunciation nuclear, which is generally considered incorrect, is an example of how a familiar phonological pattern can influence an unfamiliar one. Much more common in the similar sequence, cular, which occurs in words like particular, circular, spectacular, and in many scientific words like molecular, ocular, and vascular. This is here. In his 1999 book, The Big Book of Beastly Mispronunciations, logophile Charles Harrington Elster noted that the vast majority of those he spoke with during the writing of his book, as well as 99% of the 1985 usage panel of Morris & Morris's Harper Dictionary of Contemporary Usage, specifically condemn the use of the word and characterize it as a mispronunciation. Elster's own view on the matter derives from the root of the word nucleus. Arguing by analogy, Elster suggests that molecular comes from molecule and particular comes from particle, but there is no nucleal to support nuclear. You there, man?
I feel like I probably pronounce it like this because it's like, I don't know, like, I know this is going to sound like a joke because this has come up before, but I really don't put that much stock in, like, pronunciation.
Well, it is used fairly frequently.
Right.
I believe, and it actually makes mention of this, that Homer Simpson has pronounced it as nuclear.
Wait, what are it's nuclear is the wrong way. Nuclear is the correct way, right?
That's correct.
You know what it is? This is what my personal pet theory about it is. I know why I mispronunciate things, and it has to do with laziness, lazy tongue. It's like it has to do with like I think I got to do a lot of chipping, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that chipping wrong. So it'll be less embarrassing to just laze it out than just go in chipping. You know, nuclear. You know what I mean? You just go nuclear. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like. It's a way to gloss over something you might not be entirely sure of the footing of.
It seems like also to that, like maybe elaborating on that, like if you pronounce a word just incorrectly, and you just say it, it's a little bit more forgiving than if you labor over something and still get it wrong.
Exactly. So it's like I feel like I'm probably going to get it wrong, so I'm just going to like just slide through it.
Now Now, the page brings up sort of, who uses it and why. And it says, U.S. presidents who have used this pronunciation include Dwight D. Eisenhower, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, as well as U.S. Vice President Walter Mondale.
I mean, that would be a colloquial thing, though, right? They're kind of just, like, playing up their accent kind of a thing. Like,
well, here it says this. In his 2005 book, Going Nucular, linguist Jeffrey, so they have a whole book, there's a whole book dedicated to this mispronunciation, which
right.
I can't think of another book, another word, common mispronunciation that has its own book. In his book, Going Nuclear, linguist Jeffrey Nunberg suggests that the reasons underlying the differing pronunciations of this word may be different from president to president. Whereas Eisenhower's pronunciation most likely arose from his lack of familiarity with the word, having first learned it in midlife, Bush's usage may represent a calculated effort to appeal to populist sentiment, though this theory is rejected by linguist Steven Pinker. This analysis is repeated in the second edition of Charles Harrington Elster's Big Book of Beastly Mispronunciations. Oxford professor Marcus de Setoy was heard to use it in a BBC documentary. The actor-narrator Orson Welles said nuclear while speaking at the 1982 No Nukes rally in New York City's Central Park. And one more, Edward Teller, father of the American hydrogen bomb, supposedly used this particular pronunciation. And this usage is a limited tradition within the American nuclear research establishment. However, a clip from a 65 interview with Teller on the Project Plowshare on Project Plowshare seems to contradict this claim. But there's one other thing. Steven Pinker has proposed a phonotactic explanation for the conversion of nuclear to nuclear. The unusual and disfavored sequence is gradually transformed to a more acceptable configuration via metathesis. However, Arnold Zwicky notes that clear presents no difficulty for English speakers in words such as pricklier. He also regards the proposition of metathesis as unnecessary. Zwicky suggests a morphological origin, combining the slang nuke with the common sequence cular. Supporting Zwicky's hypothesis, Jeffrey Nunberg quotes a government weapons specialist. "Oh, I only say nuclear when I'm talking about nukes." Nunberg argues that this pronunciation by weapons specialists and by politicians such as Bush, who are aware of the more accepted pronunciation, may be a deliberate choice. He suggests that the reasons for this choice are to assert authority or to sound folksy. So I kind of I can get behind the thing where it's like nuclear for nuclear weapons. For like nukes.
Well, that's in the weapons specialist context, yeah.
Yes. I mean, that that makes sense to me. I would buy that.
We will use our nuclear weapons.
No, nuclear is the correct one.
No, I know, but like I'm trying to size it out.
All right.
We've got nuclear weapons, or we've got nuclear weapons. Like, I don't know.
No, you're saying it the correct way both times.
What's the incorrect way?
Nucular.
Oh yeah, right. We got nuclear weapons, or we have nuclear weapons. They're both pretty scary. Like, actually, the Southern is a little more scary in a way. Like,
well, say it's Southern, but with the regular. Say it's Southern, but
that's what I'm trying to think, like, because you said prickly too. Like, that's a prickly pear. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
then you're just doing. It's not. It's just like a Southern accent is the big distinguishing factor.
I mean, prickly. I feel like it's shortened. That's a real prickly pear. You know?
Well, they're saying pricklier. Like more prickly.
Pricklier. Right. It's hard to. I'm trying to.
Nuclear is like pricklier. Right. It would be like saying prickular.
Nuclear. They should just fucking mispronounce it some more. Like, the more you mispronounce it, the kind of more terrifying it is. We got nuclear weapons, you know? That's like the more kind of like regionally affected you sound, the scarier it is. Like,
well, how about a character called Nukium?
Nukium. Sounds gross.
Yeah, it's like a gum.
Alright. So, you want to go through one more quick one?
One more quick one. Yeah.
Alright, this one's kind of rough. It's Andrio. Goddamn. Mispronunciations. Get ready. Anthropodermic bibliopegy. It's a practice of binding books in human skin.
That's what it's. Human dermic skin bibliography book.
Yeah.
Or not bibliography, but
bibliopegy.
All right. Bibliopegy.
Yeah, pegy. So, though extremely uncommon in modern time, the technique dates back to at least the 17th century. The practice is inextricably connected with the practice, or not inextricably, with the practice of tanning human skin, often done in certain circumstances after a corpse has been dissected. The trend for anthropomorphic bibliopegy likely began in the late 16th and early 17th centuries, although the first reported example, a French Bible, dates back to the 13th century. Surviving historical examples of this technique include anatomy texts found bound with the skin of dissected cadavers, volumes created at the bequest and bound with the skin of the testator. Oh God. So it's like people would I want this book to be bound with my skin. It's auto-anthropomorphic. Jesus Christ.
That makes sense to me.
I mean, I guess like the testator is a person who has written and executed a last will and testament that is in effect at the time of his or her death. So it's like in a will. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would not imagine it would be people saying like, "Could you take some of my skin and make it into a book?" It would be like, "Use my skin as a book for a book cover when I'm dead."
So, and copies of judicial proceedings were bound in the skin of the murderer convicted in those proceedings, such as the case of John Horwood in 1821 and Red Barn Murder of 1828. That seems fucking insane.
Where was that? Was that U.S. or England?
John Horwood, the first one, Bristol, England, and Red Barn Murder. Yeah, England.
All right.
So, was
this a C also from the nipple shoe thing?
No, yeah, I found these on a similar hole, similar journey. What has been called the most famous of all anthropomorphic bindings resides at the Boston Athenaeum, titled The Highwayman, a narrative of the life of James Allen, alias George Walton. It is by James Allen, who asked to have his memoir bound in his own skin and presented to a man he had once tried to rob and admired for his bravery. Jeez. I like that guy. When I'm dead, write about my life and bind it in my head with my skin and send it to him. I like that guy. He was one brave guy. It's so stupid.
It's a pretty good reward.
I guess so. The libraries of many universities include one or more samples of this. The rare book collection at the Harvard Law School holds a book that was long believed to be bound in human skin. The Practarium Questionarum Circa Legis Regis Hispanali, a treatise on Spanish law, through testing on the binding was proven it was bound in sheepskin. A faint inscription on the last page of this book states, "The binding of this book is all that remains of my dear friends Jonas Wright, who is later alive." So it's a lie. 2004, Harvard's Houghton Library confirmed a book in its collection was bound in human skin. So I guess they're just, these are just going through different examples of it.
Is there any talk about like grimoires or anything like that?
Let me see. I mean, I imagine that'd be under popular culture.
Well, popular culture is more like, things about, about it, like fiction or whatever that talks about it. I'm talking about real grimoires. Well, like you could imagine like the Necronomicon as being an example from, popular culture.
It's surprising because it's a lot of stuff that is just either, it's directly related to anatomy, or it's like, it is just someone asking to have shit bound, like poetry and stuff. Like, it's oddly kind of like banal. Mm-hmm. This one looks really fucking, there's a tradition of certain volumes of erotica being bound in human skin. Examples include a copy of the Marquis de Sade's Justine, bound in tan skin from female breasts. Other examples are known with the feature of the intact human nipple on one and more of the books of the board. So,
now, as you know, I just got outbid on eBay for a copy of Justine.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was that Guido Crapex.
Oh, that's right.
Illustrated one. I got outbid on all 5 of those things I was bidding on.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But that's an aside.
No, wait, what?
I just want to let the listeners know that if they see me bidding on something on eBay, don't snipe me.
Did you get sniped on all of your bids?
Some of them I was like, I'm not going past that. But I did get sniped on a couple.
Right. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do? What were you saying?
No, I was just looking through the last bit. All this stuff like about scary magic books is all popular culture. Apparently people don't do that as often as you think. If you find a book bound in human skin, it's much more likely to be poetry than it is
some dumb medical book.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there are any of these books on eBay.
I wouldn't want to touch one of these. It seems gross.
Oh. I wouldn't mind, I guess. I guess it would be creepy to have in your house, though.
I mean, some of them, like, bound in like a murderer's skin, you know what I mean? That's like one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, there's this one. It's just taken from a guy, you know. It's just some fucking guy. Like, that's horrible. Like,
well, it's sort of like, you know, like it's not the same, but it's like when people have like you know, like human skulls in their house, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess like it's not. You don't torture people to get this; they're dead already. But something unnerving.
Oh, definitely. But I would imagine that would be the appeal to some modern, or even back then, some, you know, possessors of these books.
Yeah, I've got mixed feelings about a lot of that. Like, I in essence, I don't see anything wrong with having a book made out of human skin. But like, I would be sus. Like, I would be very suspect.
Yeah,
I'd want to know a little more.
I don't know. I guess, to me at least, a human skull seems a lot cooler.
Well, I mean, it's fairly tame.
Yeah. It seems like a better display piece also. Did I ever tell you about that here in Stanford, how a couple of garbage workers found human skulls at the dump?
Oh, really? They're like collection?
Well, they thought it was like, they first thought it was like fake, because it was right around Halloween. They thought it was like fake ones. And but then it turned out they were real. And so they were looking for like if there was like a murderer. But what happened was that like they found out where it came from, like what route, and they found like the house it was from, and it was like a goth guy that died.
Oh my god!
And his dad threw them out.
That's fucked up.
Yes, and like apparently like he bought them online or some shit. But like, could you imagine like that'd be like not even getting your skin turned into a book, but like your skull turned into a possession by a goth guy. And then the dad's like, I'm not keeping this shit. Like, throws it in the garbage.
I'm not gonna lie, like that is pretty funny. Like,
yeah. Looks like they cost like $1,000 or something for a human skull, and the dad just threw them away.
You know, there was a local funny character, and there was he told some famous story that might even be out there somewhere, where he stole skulls from a grave in Newark for, what is that, Sandinista or something, or Sandaria or whatever, like
Santeria?
It's or something.
Sandinista.
I don't know. I think it's Sandaria, like practitioners.
Santeria. That's one of the. It's like a Caribbean. A Caribbean belief system.
Right. No, like this guy was like, I think, a big drug addict, and he really needed money, and he talked about stealing skulls from a Newark cemetery for practitioners of it. That shit. So you always wonder, you know what I mean? Like, is this just some shit some junkie stole from a fucking grave, like a poorly guarded grave, and like a, you know what I mean? Like,
well, like if you think about it, like let's say you buy a human skull, like legitimately from an estate of like a guy that was like a doctor or something,
right?
Or from like some sort of, you know, like antiquary.
It has some paperwork or something.
Yeah, that it had been in a facility for 150 years. I mean, it's very, very possible that they originally got it through digging up a grave, you know. So,
well, even your original ones may be illicitly obtained themselves.
Yeah,
that's very true.
So, I took it a little off topic, but because I know it was originally about the books, but I guess anything sort of macabre.
Yeah, no, it fits. It's good list. Human trophy collecting.
Really, the skull seems like the only one that's any fun. They have any good ones on that list?
Oh, you want to hear from that a little bit?
I don't know. Should that be a game? Is that going to be your game?
Nah, man, it's pretty bad. Like, I don't know if you're going to be.
Let's
your Ed Gein territory here.
All right, I don't want to deal with that shit. Oh, actual like killer trophies, not like things you buy on the internet.
There's a nose tomb. Nose tombs are tombs that contain human noses or other body parts that were brought back to Japan as trophies during the invasions of Korea in the late 16th century.
Oh, God.
War trophies were part of the Japanese tradition at the time, and samurai warriors were often paid to according to how many they collected. One such nose tomb was discovered in 1981 in Okayama near Osaka. This tomb held the severed and pickled noses of approximately 20,000 dead Koreans, which were eventually returned to Korea in 1992 and cremated. A similar tomb still exists today in Kyoto called the Mizuka, literally the ear mound. In Japan, these tombs are considered relics by the few who are aware of them, but in Korea, these tombs are very well known. Jeez.
Alright, well, let's get on to the games.
Alright, let's do mine first, because it's probably not going to be as good as yours.
Alright.
Alright, so let me give you a little introduction for this. So, this is something you gotta guess. I'm gonna read you a sentence, and I'm gonna leave out what the subject of it's about, and you gotta guess what it is, okay? The blank is of extreme antiquity and simplicity. Although for many centuries, and indeed for thousands of years, it was an article of state and dignity, rather than an article of ordinary use. The blank is still extensively used as an emblem of authority in the British House of Commons and in public meeting. It was not, in fact, until the 16th century that it became more common anywhere. What is this?
Lion?
A lion?
Yeah, I may have missed a part of it. Oh, I'm thinking of an emblem. Is it a scepter?
No.
Crown?
No.
What is it?
A chair.
Oh shit, yeah, I did read about that once. I read about that on the thing about how chairs are bad for you.
Alright, so I'm going to be reading you types of chairs, and you got to guess what it is.
Okay.
Do you know what an ant is?
No. Is it like an ant hill?
No, like ant is a type of chair.
But is it in the shape of an ant hill?
No.
Alright, what is it?
The ant is a classic of modern chair design. The ant is named for its approximately similarity to the outline of an ant with its head raised.
Oh, so it looks like an actual ant.
It kind of looks like an ant head. It's
Really?
got like no got no armrest, and it just has like a wide back, but it slims down in the middle.
Sounds weird.
I mean, it's kind of like, it looks like a painful like office chair, or like desk chair, or does not look fun. All right. Do you know what a bath chair is?
It's not just a chair that would be in a bath?
No, I actually thought that is what it would be. No, it's like this, it's a rolling chaise or light carriage for one person with a folding hood, which can be open or closed, used by disabled persons. It was mounted on 3 or 4 wheels and pushed by hands. It was named after Bath, England. So it's referring to Bath, England, not like, yeah.
Well, I think that's where the bath word comes from.
Yeah.
Because Bath, England is famous for their baths.
I see. Alright, what's a chaise lounge?
That's like one of those, I mean, it's like one of those fancy chairs. It's sort of like a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like the seating part?
Correct. It's a long chair. It's an upholstered sofa in the shape of a chair that is long enough to support the legs. In modern terms, the chaise lounge can refer to any long reclining chair, such as a deck chair.
Okay.
It's a literal translation in English is long chair. In the United States, the term lounge chair is also used to refer to any long reclining chair.
Right.
All right. Do you know what a club chair is?
Yeah, it's hard to explain. They're sort of shorter and, I guess, a little bit stubbier looking. I think they're generally upholstered. And they have arms?
Yeah, it's a type of armchair usually covered in leather. It was created, made in France. It first appeared as the comfortable armchair. It was given this name to distinguish it from the fauteuil du style, which had straighter lines and was less enveloping. The origin of the terms club are unclear, but it may be a reference to a gentleman's club.
Okay.
So it is like a lazy boy, but it's shorter.
Mm-hmm. I don't really think of it as a because aren't lazy boys usually they have the reclining flip out thing?
Right. But it kind of looks like that, but it's got a shorter back, and obviously doesn't do that.
Yeah.
But it looks very comfortable, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what a confidant is?
No.
Fuck, that's weird. I have seen these, though. It's a type of sofa characterized by a triangular set at each end so that people could sit on either end of the sofa and be close to the person sitting in the middle. The ends were described as detachable, could be removed on their own and used. So it's kind of a weird thing. It's like three. It's like three chairs in like a spiral. It's very odd. Alright, let me see.
Any more?
Oh, there's a ton. Do you want... Do you know what a diamond chair is?
No. Is that refer to the upholstery type?
No, I don't know, this is kind of like an Avant chair. It's like big net you sit in. And it's shaped like a diamond. Yeah, I don't know about that one. That last one I picked, I don't know what the fuck that was either. What about a tongue chair?
I don't know. Does it just look like a human tongue?
Well, it kind of does, but it's just like one of these really annoying chairs that has like a very narrow back.
Oh. That sounds shitty.
Yeah, it does.
Is it upholstered or just like wood?
No, it's like a I guess it has a leather cover, but then it just has steel legs.
Oh.
It's shitty. Do you know what an ottoman is?
Yeah, an ottoman's like a usually it's like a footrest, but I guess you could sit on it. It has no back, and it's like sort of the same or lower than a normal, I guess, club chair or easy chair.
Correct. Do you know what a strut Shakespeare chair is?
No.
Oh, wow. It's a fold-up theater chair, but it's made with upholstered fabric or leather and has a mahogany frame with a flip seat. It's interesting. So it's like a really bougie like theater chair, like the way it goes up, but it's all made out of wood. Oh, do you know what a watchman's chair is?
No, what is it?
It's an upholstered wood construction featuring a forward slanted seat so that the watchman could not readily fall asleep without sliding downwards and off the chair.
That's pretty good.
Oh, you want to do any more chairs? You want to call it a show?
Well, I've got my game.
Oh yeah, what's your game?
You went through all the chairs.
I thought we played your game. What is your game?
No, you said you wanted to go first because yours was not as interesting.
Oh, right.
Mine is a list of legendary creatures.
I was like, was that zootocryptology or whatever? Cryptozoology?
Well, the cryptozoology, but I guess this is distinct. These are just mainly legends.
Like leprechauns.
Well, that wouldn't really be a creature. I don't think that'd be a creature. These are more like animal sort of things.
So it's not cryptozoology, but it's mythical animals.
I guess cryptozoology might include these, but I think of cryptozoology as more just like I don't know. I mean, cryptozoology is like hidden animals. These are more just like, I think, firmly in the hold of legend.
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna read you the name and a little description. I want you to guess where it's from.
All right.
I'm gonna read some birds first. Strix, an owl that ate human flesh.
Say America.
No, it's Greek.
Oh, wow.
All right. Shamrosh, the body of a dog, head and wings of a bird.
Like Indonesia?
No, it's Persian. All right. Caladrius, white bird with healing powers.
That sounds Greek.
That's close. It's Roman.
It's all antiquity. This is all antiquity, right?
Well, they're legends, so
right.
Generally, yes. Let's see here. Here's an easy one. Thunderbird.
It's not Native American.
Yeah. That's correct.
It seems like that one might be in a couple, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, Thunderbird's a Native American. And I guess, relating to cryptozoology, I think cryptozoologists point to that as being an example of, or at least some point to that to be an example of, sort of, modern day examples of, lost, pterodactyl type creatures.
Oh, right.
Well, here's one that it would be modern cryptozoology. The list includes chupacabra.
Oh, right.
All right, but now I'm on canine. So we have here is Kusith. It's a hellhound or harbinger of death.
That's like Polish or like Eastern European. That name Ku, I feel like I know. What is it?
It's Scottish and Irish.
Scottish and Irish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. Shug monkey, a dog monkey creature.
Italy.
That's from Britain.
Oh, Britain.
Beast of Gavaudan, man-eating wolf.
Sounds English.
No, it's French. Alright. Let's see what else we have here. Going down to equines. Hippogriff. A winged horse with the head and upper body of an eagle.
That sounds like Greek.
It's French again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's whimsical.
Another related one is the Simurgh. It's like the hippogriff with the head of a human. Can you guess where that one's from?
Is that Germanic?
No.
Is it European?
No.
What is it? How's it pronounced?
Simurgh. Simurgh. But, I mean, I don't know if that helps at all.
Simurgh, and it's with the head of a man. It's a horse with the head of a man.
Mm-hmm.
Persian?
Yes.
Mm.
Very good.
That kind of has that like that vibe of like those old images. Like I could see that.
All right. How about this one? Mermaid/merman, half human, half fish.
Who did that first? Fuck. I've seen old sailing, Western sailing mythical creature. I'm gonna say it's like Greek or Roman.
I'm gonna give it to you. Wikipedia has it listed as worldwide.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Wow. So it's a universal.
Yes.
Interesting.
All right. Should we? Let's see here. Should we get on to? It says. Ooh, this might be a good one for another time because it has non-animal ones, but maybe we'll save that for another time.
Mm.
Oh, list the Rat King.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Also listed as worldwide is the dragon.
I guess that's true.
Can you guess what this one is? Sepactli, sea monster, part crocodile, fish and toad, always hungry, thousands of mouths.
Sounds Egyptian.
That would be a good guess because of the crocodile, but it's listed as Spanish and Aztec.
Spanish and Aztec.
Yeah. Let's see what else we have here. Almiraj, rabbit with unicorn horn.
Silly.
It's kind of like the jackalope.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like what is it called? A mirage?
Almiraj.
Almiraj?
Almiraj.
How do you spell the first part?
A-L.
Is that Spanish?
No, it's listed as Islam.
I mean, the al thing. I know that's like I thought that was like an Arabic like prefix or something. Prefix.
Yeah, it is. And it also has an apostrophe in it, so that sort of helps as well.
That would have helped.
Hibagon. It's ape-like, and it's similar to Bigfoot. Or the Yeti.
Sounds Greek.
Hibagon.
The Agon thing. What is it?
It's Japanese.
Oh, it's Japanese.
Alright, the Yeti. Abominable snowman, ape-like cryptid, similar to Bigfoot.
Is it like Scandinavia or something?
No.
It's not Norse.
No. This is a pretty well-known one.
Is that just American?
No.
I thought the Yeti was kind of more of a crypto zoological one. What is it?
It's from the Himalayas.
Oh,
Himalayas.
yeah, that's right.
Nepal and Tibet.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's see if there are any more good ones, and then we can see what else we have here. Chashravas, a 7-headed, all-white flying horse.
Is that like Persian again?
That's Hindu.
That's Hindu.
Tikbalag, a creature with the body of a man and the head and hooves of a horse, and it lurks in the mountains and forests.
Is that like Japanese?
Now, the name kind of sounds like it could be Japanese. It's from the Philippines.
I see. I see.
This is listed under the horse, or equine category. The Nuculavi. It is an evil elf that ruins crops, causes epidemics, and drought.
Denmark or something.
It's from Orkney Island, Scotland. This one's interesting, but it's kind of straightforward. This would be maybe a good read for another time. The Cheval Gavin.
That sounds French.
It is. It's French-Swiss. It's a horse that tries to kill its rider.
That doesn't even seem that uncommon.
And I'm reading the page right now. It's a legendary evil horse. It is said to frequent water courses, forests, or cemeteries, and to kill those who mount it by drowning them or throwing them into chasms.
Interesting.
Apparently, it was also used as a boogeyman for children. Like be careful or Cheval Gavin will get you. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, actually.
Did your parents ever try to scare you with a boogeyman type story?
I don't think so.
I have no recollection of that happening to myself.
Don't think I did.
Yeah. I think it seems like it wouldn't be common in well, I shouldn't say. I was going to say it wouldn't be common in America, but I get to see a lot of parents using it.
Yeah. I think it's a thing a lot of people forget about, probably too.
One more, and then I'll end it. Owlman, and it's comparable to the American Mothman.
Like China.
No, it's from England.
Oh, it's English.
Yeah. Yeah. You like Mothman? You ever read about Mothman?
No, what's the whole deal? Like, is this just like a bug man that appears?
Well, he looks like moth-like. I think he's got no head that sticks above his shoulders. It's like he has glowing eyes, and he's like a harbinger of death.
I remember there's that Ashton Kutcher movie, but I don't really know anything about it.
I don't think there was an Ashton Kutcher Mothman movie. I thought wasn't Kevin Costner or something?
There's the Mothman, or I don't know. I might be thinking of the Butterfly Effect.
Yeah, it's two very different movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mothman. Yeah, Mothman. I think it was Kevin Costner, maybe.
I'll have to watch that. It sounds shitty.
Oh, Richard Gere.
Even shittier.
Why, you don't like Richard Gere?
Nah, he's alright.
He's been in some okay ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we went a little long with these games that were not particularly interesting.
That's fine.
Yeah. People can skip it if they want.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that was a good show.
Yes.
And I think we should say goodnight to you, the listener, and remind you to get Omegaland, a post-apocalyptic tarot deck, available on Amazon.
That's right.
Yeah. You've seen it, Dave. It's pretty good, right?
It's very good.
Oh, thanks, man. All right, well, that's it for tonight. So thank you, and have a good night.
Good night.
If you love fast-paced battle card games and high fantasy, you may love David's Star Wars Backstab. Romp with your friends through castles and dungeons. He'll watch your back. You can't trust anybody. Backstab is published by US Games, now available on Amazon. Google Backstab card game today.